Greetings, welcome back. All right, so Friday Night Rampage, 2-hour show. We get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches. Perfect. I thought this was a very good show. Again, not a lot of talking. And honestly, it helps to set up next week's shows as well. There was only one match that disappointed me. We will get to that. We'll start off with CM Punk versus Powerhouse Hobbs, and honestly, this was just great. Hobbs was in control early. I thought Punk did a good job of really making Hobbs look quite good, and Hobbs is a good wrestler. CM Punk chants. Punk gets a roll up for 2. The inside cradle is it's funny. Some of the greatest matches in wrestling history have been ended with an inside cradle, but the competition to AEW does rely on it too much. Absolutely. So I'm glad to see that it's not usually a 3 count in AEW. Taz was enjoying Hobbs being in charge of the match. He was doing the commentary with Starks. Ricky Starks is an interesting case where, they keep him on commentary. They want to keep him public and keep him out there. And then when he's ready to wrestle, they'll throw him in the ring with Punk, you'd have to think. Top rope elbow by Punk gets him to a 2.5. There was a nice go to sleep chant going on there. Hobbs back in charge, though. And honestly, he was in charge for most of the match. And by in charge, I mean he was controlling it. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're calling all the shots. It means that you're the one that's getting the offense in. There was an ugly crash to the mat. Punk was bleeding from the forehead a bit. Looked like Hobbs hit his head. I hope they're both okay. Punk then puts him in a triangle choke, and Hobbs powers out. So again, this is CM Punk making Hobbs look like a monster, which is good. Then there was a distraction by Hook. That backfired. So we'll see Hook against CM Punk next, you would think. Unless they're still protecting Hook and they're getting him ready for something else and building up to him against Punk. And then GTS, Punk gets the win. And then after the match, what's a nice touch? And if you're watching, it's one of those things where, as a fan that's watched for a long time, I like to see this. CM Punk gave Hobbs a pat on the chest like, hey, good match, good going kind of thing. And you could see Hobbs say something too. So there was this nice moment after the match, and I thought that was good. So this is the first time CM Punk had wrestled on a televised TV event in 7 years. So not bad. Not bad. Then we get the Super Click versus Christian and the Jurassic Express. And what I thought was nice early was that Cole was being chicken. Adam Cole has decided to play at these the cowardly heel, which is fantastic. Fans hate a cowardly heel. So he tagged out right away to avoid Cage. Like, no, I'm not fighting Christian Cage. Matt Jackson took a punch from Cage, and then Cage hit him with some chops. AEW definitely likes the knife edge chop a lot. Cole bailed again when he was one-on-one against Jungle Boy. Next week, they're one-on-one against each other, so I'm looking forward to that. And I think Jungle Boy is set up to be a future champ of some sort, whether it's TNT level or whether it's world level. I think he has it. And the way that the crowd cheers for him, it's just, you can't fake that, so it's great. Then we get a super kick party that shifts the momentum. Cutler, I have to say, Brandon Cutler, his whole spraying down Matt and Nick Jackson at ringside or after a match is fantastic. He knows his role. He knows he is the goober of the group, and he's perfectly fine with that, with the headgear and the outfit, and he plays the role perfectly. So the Bucks then, they get their moment in the ring where they recreate the kiss on the cheek for Cole while he had Jungle Boy, who was kind of out of it. So he was tied up. And then there's a hot tag to Luchasaurus, and we get a chokeslam party out of it, including one where he had the chokeslam ready here, and then like a backhand upside down chokeslam ready here, but he picks one up and slams onto the... It was really interesting. I don't remember seeing that before. So I like offense that's different, where I go, that's new. We then get 2 3/4. For Jungle Boy after Christian Cage hits a diving headbutt. Then there's another hot tag to Luchasaurus. Mayhem, everybody's in the ring because that's what happens with these big multi-man matches. The Young Bucks then eliminated Cage and Jungle Boy, and then the three of them team up to get Luchasaurus pinned. So it's not breaking of the rules to pin him, but it's the way heels do it. And so the Super Click gets the win, and yet Jurassic Express and Christian don't come out of it looking bad. So that's how you do it. We then had Men of the Year versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. This match was really good. What I also really liked is that the announcers reminded us that 2 years ago, Scorpio Sky was the first person to pin Chris Jericho's shoulders to the mat in AEW. The fact that wins and losses matter in this company is great. And I love that they have a memory. They don't forget who's beaten who and when, even if it's 2 years later. Inner Circle controls things early on. Ethan Page then took control. I thought he had a really good match. Might have been the best one I've seen of him so far. Hot tag to Hager during commercial. So that was when they were picture-in-picture. I have problems with some of the commercial breaks tonight. Page then takes Hager out. Both of them tag, so we get Jericho versus Sky. Then there was a Lion Salt. 2.5. The Lion Salt I've watched for over 20 years. It very often does not result in a pinning victory, but it's still fun to watch. Ankle lock then by Hager, and then Lambert with the distraction, and then we get a surprise roll-up thanks to Lambert, and Hager gets pinned with the surprise roll-up. So there it is. But I thought it was okay there because it sets up what happens after. Lambert's brought in the ring, and all of his MMA fighter friends come in, boxing friends, everybody comes in, and they beat up Hager and Chris Jericho. So if we're going to set up some kind of an MMA fight between Hager and one of these guys, that's fine with me. Here's what I think's interesting, though. The Inner Circle still exists. You still have Sammy Guevara, and Santino and Ortiz are there, right? So as soon as all these UFC guys are out there, I thought, okay, so wait a minute. All these MMA fighters are out. Where's the rest of the Inner Circle? They have to address this, that the Inner Circle didn't come close to making the save, even though Santana and Ortiz are in the next match. Spelled Ortiz wrong. Look at that. All right, I'll just fix that now. See, we can do this, because on the main channel, I might be like, well, I'm going to, just do another take. But on this channel, it's more of an intimate environment, so you guys can see I just changed it to a Z. Nobody's going to care. And I said Z because I'm Canadian. So, yeah, I just think it's weird. I thought that was really weird. I thought, well, Inner Circle's got to come out, right? No. Nope, they don't. But they did come out with the Lucha Brothers, or Lucha Bros versus Private Party and the Butcher and the Blade. So, the Hardy Family Office. And I didn't take a lot of notes because just everything happens. I don't know how to put it. It's an 8-man tag match. We expect mayhem. We get mayhem. There was a really great 4-man dive. So 2 of them are coming off the top rope. It was Rey Fenix, and I think it was Santana. And then it's Ortiz and Zero Miedo, Penta, who are diving through the ropes. And all 4 of them hit the crossbody at the same time. It was so well done. It was a great moment, and we're gonna see that in highlight packages. We're gonna see that in promos for the company. We'll see that. The match, very predictable chaos, and then Jack Evans is out there, and Orange Cassidy comes out. You can't cut anybody's hair. Orange Cassidy won't allow it. The funny thing is, and this honestly, I didn't put it on the board. The backstage stuff I didn't put on the board, but after this match, you then have Matt Hardy saying he challenges Orange Cassidy to a hair versus hair match. And then he points at Jack Evans and goes, you're the one having the match with Orange Cassidy, where Evans grabs his hair like, no. It's leading to Matt Hardy getting his head shaved. We know it's leading to Matt Hardy getting his head shaved. If Jack Evans gets it as well, all right, maybe it's the start of another straight edge society, right? But anyways, then there's more chaos and high spots, and yeah, the faces win during all the chaos. You knew that the Lucha Bros and Santana and Ortiz were going to win. They are the bigger names. They're the better tag teams. And we're going to eventually see Lucha Bros versus Santana and Ortiz for the tag titles. Maybe it'll be a triple threat with FTR involved. Sign me up. I am absolutely, or, fatal 4-way, and you have the Young Bucks involved too. Sure, bring that on. I am all for it. And then we get Miro coming out to fight Fuego and Sammy. So Fuego del Sol and Sammy Guevara come out to kind of hype up next week's match. They didn't check on their way out to see if Miro was in catering or if he was back there because he didn't have a match tonight. So if you see Miro in trunks, maybe don't go out there or maybe find somewhere else to go and promote your match. So yeah, Fuego, it looked like, was dead. I'm going to assume that he's been murdered and that Miro could very well murder Sammy Guevara next week. That could happen. This could be a new shtick for him. His new gimmick is people are dead. And I don't know how far this can go, but it's wrestling, so police don't exist unless they all of a sudden do for some reason storyline-wise, right? Goldberg, anybody. But yeah, so Fuego is dead, and Sammy Guevara will fight in his honor against Miro on Wednesday, and I think it's going to be a great match. Miro very likely wins it, but if they build up Sammy to be TNT champ, I'm fine with that too. And then we get Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford. This is where the show failed. And I'm going to say why. So Anna attacks Penelope on the LED ramp. That's fine. Anna then turns it into a street fight with just, pillar to post kind of action outside the ring. Again, that's fine. The bunny comes out. As soon as the bunny came out, I'm like, okay, where's Ty Conte? Why isn't... They've come out together for weeks. Why isn't Ty out here? Didn't come out. Queen Slayer sleepers applied, and then we end up with the distraction and the brass knuckles again. And the other problem I had was there's a commercial in the middle of this. So actual wrestling match, it felt like it was maybe 2.5 minutes they showed on the air. And it didn't matter. The match wasn't about the match. So Ty comes out to make the save, and it fails because the brass knuckles. They have to figure this out. Brass knuckles, Ty, go get yourself a pair of brass knuckles yourself. This is where you have to even it up. I don't know, give William Regal a call. He always had brass knuckles available to him at all times. So the moment seems to be that then you have the HFO out, the Hardy Family Office. And then Dark Order comes out and they reunite around the fallen Anna Jay. But Stuart Grayson and Evil Uno would not shake hands with Alex Reynolds. So all of the rest of the Dark Order are in the ring. They are united. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson have gone out on their own. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the idea of if they decide to pull this off, that Evil Uno and Stu Grayson go on their own. The interesting thing is they were the ones that came in as Dark Order, and then they recruited the others. So it'd be interesting to see what happens here. I know there's people predicting Adam Page is going to come back and, mend all these fences. I don't know. Page has been out for a while, so we'll see what they do when he comes back, right? But this match was just to get the Dark Order out there and continue that storyline. And I thought that Anna versus Penelope was a sidelined, forgotten. I'm already predicting Simon tomorrow is going to give it a down on the ups and downs for Rampage. I can't see him giving that match an up. Maybe. But I honestly think that might be the down for him. I don't remember any downs at all on Dynamite from him. And I think that'll probably be the only down from him on this show. And then they immediately... They announced right after that commercial, next week we'll have Anna Jay and Ty Conte versus Penelope Ford and the Bunny. Of course, right. And then if the brass knuckles get involved again, I'll complain. So that's the thing. Like I prefer AEW to WWE, but I have no problem calling out AEW when I think it's a little bit off. It's a little bit off. Because part of it now, too, is that it's looking like Penelope Ford, for her to win, she has to use the brass knuckles. And... yeah, I don't know how this feud's helping them much. If there was a tag title for the women in AEW, maybe, but there isn't. And then we close out with Archer and Suzuki versus Moxlane and Kingston, and this was ridiculous. I'm gonna say this: Archer and Suzuki come out of this looking like monsters. They came out of this looking like the much superior team, even though they don't win the match. So there was a brawl at the start. The crowd was very into this. Suzuki versus Mox chair fight. I thought it was nice. Minoru Suzuki gets 2 chairs and just slides one to Moxley, which is an echo of Moxley versus Omega. Pretty sure that happened with Moxley versus Omega as well. Then there's some Eddie chants. This is his hometown crowd, so they love him. Kingston and Suzuki then at a chop contest. Suzuki sends Kingston through a table. Archer beat up some ring attendants. He did it before the match. He did it during the match. And then it sets up him chokeslamming Moxley to those waiting attendants that caught him. Archer then hung Moxley using the belt. And then we go to commercial as he's being hung with the belt. And when we come back from commercial, Moxley's hands are being taped behind his back. If they're going to do the picture-in-picture commercial, maybe save it for this main event, because there was stuff that happened during the commercial that would have been beneficial to see. And then he was getting whipped too. Archer and Suzuki were in complete and total control. There were some Eddie chants again. Eddie gets in. He did some chops that Archer no-sold. Said they didn't hurt him. So Moxley did manage to wear Archer down a bit. Hit the machine gun chops on him. And then Archer and Suzuki start double teaming Eddie while still Moxley's got his hands taped behind his back. And I didn't see this happening, but it had music and the ramp had the name Homicide on it. So Homicide comes into the ring from the other side. And he basically makes the save. So he saves Eddie, and he manages to get Moxley out of the tape. And then Eddie, it was something. He takes that kendo stick, which had been used in this match a couple of times, and he put Archer in the trash can, and then he just beat the trash can with the kendo stick. Now, the one problem was that Archer rotated while it was going on, so you could see that Archer was protected in there, but still it looks really cool. So Archer loses the match there. He takes the pin from Eddie. They still look strong out of this. It's not like Suzuki or Archer look any weaker. The good guys, Mox and Kingston, needed a third to get the win. Otherwise, they were going to get destroyed. So I don't think this is the end of the feud. Moxley mentioned that this is a never-ending feud, and I don't think it's done. I think we're going to get another Archer versus Moxley or Archer versus Kingston or whatever they're going to do, and I think that'd be kind of fun. So less notes than usual because, again, these matches just were kind of crazy, and I thought, I don't need to document all the crazy, ridiculous spots that take place, other than to mention in this video that there were lots of crazy, ridiculous spots that took place. It was not as good as Dynamite. I'm not going to pretend it was, but it was still an excellent show. And other than Anna Jay versus Penelope Ford, it was very good. It continues to be an issue where there are a lot of women on this roster, and there isn't enough room, there isn't enough time on Dynamite, and even on this massive 2-hour Rampage, to really bring very many women onto television. So we'll see if that changes. But like they talked about Thunder Rosa, Jade, and Nyla going, in a triple threat match. But in general, there's not a lot of women's matches on here. And again, it's time. I really think it's time. I don't think that it's a conscious decision by AEW not to feature women wrestlers more. It's just you have a lot of wrestlers and a limited amount of time on TV, and there's some really, really good things going on right now, and it's a pretty stacked roster. So, fun stuff. All right, let me know what you thought of the show in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.